So I posted on Twitter how I found a couple of different Game Boy Pockets at a local thrift store, and I was really excited to find them because there's been a project I've been wanting to do for a little while now, which is to take a Game Boy Pocket and kind of bring it into the modern day by backlighting it. Now, backlights are very popular to do to different systems, but the Game Boy Pocket has always stood out to me because it has a really good screen, but it has no way to light up. Now, Nintendo did do like their own light over in Japan, but it never found its way here, and that was a real shame. I'm still looking to find one of those, but I figure today, on Sunday, why don't we make our own? Now, I also have a bit of a surprise for how this is all gonna look when it's all done, but I've already prepared that. It's off camera. I'll bring it in when we get to that point, but I think you guys are gonna like what this is gonna end up looking like when it's all done. I'll also show you guys all the tools that I use, and I'll show you where I get the different parts from and everything, just in case you wanna do something similar, and you can kind of decide if this is something you want to tackle, or maybe you just want to go online and just buy a Game Boy Pocket already done. So let's have some fun here today and check this out. Make sure, again, if you guys do enjoy these videos, hit the like button. It helps out a lot. And make sure you subscribe if you enjoy these kind of little tech teardowns. Okay, so the Game Boy Pocket has one major issue, of course, and that has to do with there being no backlight, which does hurt it when it comes to trying to play it. This is one that I grabbed from a local thrift store. You can see it's $15 actually. The screen isn't in terrible shape. I saw some little bubbling over here, but it's nothing too bad, I think, and it looks like everything works as it should. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how the screen behind this plastic looks, but I have something different set up for this. Now, this one did not have a back, but I'm not worried about that right now either. I'm pretty much not worried at all about this shell, to be honest, just because of how this is gonna end up turning out. We mostly need to get it apart and take a look at the screen itself and start ripping it apart some. Of course, you do need a tri-wing driver for this. This is something that if you wanted to work on Nintendo systems in the past, you should probably already have one of these. They're very easy to find. They're on Amazon. I'll link to one below if you wanted to get one that you can use going forward. The cheaper ones tend to strip. However, if you spend like $4 or $5 on one and it has a long handle and everything, you'll probably be good forever, to be honest with it, just because they'll send you these cheap ones like this red-handled one, but then they have like much nicer ones as well that you can get. The nice thing about Game Boy Pockets is there's not a lot to them. Like, I just did 6 screws and then it comes off and boom, we're in. Like, it's a very easy system to work on. Have 3 more screws here and it does all of a sudden turn into Phillips head screws for whatever reason. I don't know why Nintendo didn't just stick with Phillips head screws, but hey, that's kind of where we are. We don't really need the board right now, so that's just gonna go to the side. And we have our buttons, which can also come out if you wanna clean them and everything. And then the top piece here, that's our on-off switch there. The screen itself just needs to come out. Usually a little twist here, twist there, and it will usually start to kind of pick up out of there, and you can grab it and carefully pick it up. And at this point, we're done with that as well. Now we're on to the main course here, which is the screen. Now it has these red sponges. Don't need those. In fact, we need to actually start making some room because we're gonna add a whole nother layer with our backlight that's gonna go in there. So we pretty much have to remove these sponges, but they're not really needed, to be honest. And at this point, we're ready to start working with our screen. Now, I want to take a quick look over it, and it looks all right. Like I said, there's these 2 little spots here, but I noticed they're impossible to see when you actually have it on, so I'm hoping it's not going to cause any issues with the backlight when that actually shines through it, but I think we'll be okay just based on what I've seen when I was using it earlier. Now, the whole back of this thing has this cable, and then it also has kind of these this polarizing film and everything behind it. We have to rip all of this off, and the biggest problem we run into is that it goes behind our cable, right? Like it goes into it. People obviously rip this off and you fight this cable the whole way. I'm not gonna do that, mostly because I don't mind desoldering stuff. So separating this should be pretty straightforward. Basically, I need to get all of these pins soldered or heated to the point where they can start being removed, and then I should be able to just pretty much pick it right off of there. So I'm just gonna go through here and just add a little bit of solder and just kind of run it along, with the idea being just to kind of add some fresh solder. That's the other nice thing, I guess, is I'll also be adding fresh solder to this, and it'll strengthen whatever bonds need to be strengthened, I guess, here. But this is a pretty straightforward bit of soldering here. All right, so I went ahead and removed this so that it is separated now, which you can kind of see it'll take the pressure off of trying to work my way in as I have access to the whole backing. I also went ahead and touched up all the solder points, so then when I am ready to close it back up, I just have to line it back up with some flux, and I can easily resolder it and then put it back together. So now I have to move my attention to the film on the back, and unfortunately at this point getting to it's very easy without putting any pressure on anything. And the idea here is to kind of split the front screen from the polarizing film on the back. All right, so that's what we're gonna do here. And that's the last piece right there, so got all of it up. It came in a bunch of pieces. That's the most annoying thing is if it doesn't come off as all one piece, it ends up coming off as a bunch of pieces, but it is all off. I have some glue left over, which a little bit of alcohol will take that off, like isopropyl alcohol. I usually use like 91%. We'll take that right off, at which point I can actually resolder this down and then we can put it back together with a backlight. So let's do that. All right, so my screen is prepared at this point. It's all clean, ready to go. I need to reconnect this though now. So I'm actually gonna flip this guy over here and we're gonna work to just kind of line these up and then with some pressure, solder them down and they will reconnect. Again, a little bit of pressure. I use some tweezers, for example. What's nice is they do have these two holes here that will help me line them up. But as soon as I get that in a good spot, I'm just gonna apply some pressure with some tweezers and I should be able to just go down the line and resolder it. All right, so this guy is nice and reconnected. We're good there. Now we just need to get a Game Boy that I can go ahead and slide this guy onto. Now I have prepared one already, and it's kind of what I was talking about before, which is I did get another Game Boy from them, and it was actually a gold Game Boy. And the reason I got this is because it was labeled as broken. However, it just had kind of a messed up screen. So I kept the shell and I pre-prepared the board so that this guy will be able to just slide right in. I'm actually gonna show you what I did real quick. So this is our board here. I have a polarizing film, and then I have our backlight. Now, the backlight needs a positive and negative, and it wraps around the board, and it solders to two spots down here where we have a positive and then a negative. So it'll pull power from there and essentially just light up. That's all. It doesn't have controls for making it dimmer or anything, which kind of would be a neat thing to add in for this. But it will at least brighten the back of the screen. And since we, of course, have a polarizing film and then a screen on the front, we should get a pretty cool effect as long as everything works out. Now I'm gonna put it in this gold shell so that we can put the batteries in the back. So we got that there, it's dropped in. Have our battery terminals on the back there that I can pop these guys into. Hopefully if everything went together well, it should power on. And look at that guy. That looks like that's a pretty good looking screen there for finding it in, like I said, a thrift store. I found both of these and I have now combined them in order to make a really nice looking little Game Boy there. Let me pop a game in. I have, what do we have here? Pokemon Yellow. We'll drop Yellow in there. There we go. So a little, it's kind of hard to see. It kind of blows the camera out. It's easier to see in person. I don't know if I can play around with the contrast so it's easier to see on camera. Maybe I can. It kind of blows the camera out a bit with how bright it is. It's very bright. It's extremely bright. I can see it a lot easier on my end, but maybe if I get a different angle after we get it together, you can see it a bit better. But this looks really, really good right now. I have the polarizing film in correctly. We have screen, backlight. We have the screen on top, then the film, then the backlight, all of which is running down through here to the bottom. Sound is actually pretty loud. There we go. That is a really good looking screen, but I still want to close it all up so you can get the full effect. Now we also want to route the wires down and around, so I decided to kind of come down through here between where the start and select button is, and there's like this little gap where the speaker is. I think that'll help the board sit kind of flush that way. I could probably also go down here by the corner because I think there's a little bit of space down there, but I think I'm gonna go down around this way to make it hopefully as flush as possible. So it looks like it routed around okay, came out the corner here. I was gonna go ahead and drop a few Phillips head screws in, just to hold the board in, just in case it tries to jump, like the wires that are kind of routed around everything, try to jump over and end up like behind the start button or something. Don't want that, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop a couple of those in just to hold the board down. I think that's pretty good. Looks actually fairly flush, to be honest. On the bottom, everything's kind of sitting in there. Speaker's good, so I think that's an all right spot. And then one final finishing touch that's going to bring it all together. We have the screen that's now backlit in there. Nice gold case. I do have the backing for the case and everything. And I'm going to replace the front lens with a glass one. The glass ones are really, really cool. They're obviously a bit more see-through, and they have a bit more of a premium feel to it, and they're not that expensive. So you replace this with a brand new glass one. It already has adhesive on the back, so you pretty much just drop it right on there, and boom. We have a really nice looking Game Boy Pocket. Look, it looks really, really good in person. It might be easier to see on camera, like I said, now maybe, but it looks really good. It's so much better than what it looked like before, where it had no backlight. Oh, that's great. That's great. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing right now. Whole new way to play the Game Boy now. I'm sorry, I'm just checking it out now. It looks really, really good. This is the first time I've really put one of these together like this, and just the effect. Again, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it really does look amazing. So one final look at the gold Game Boy Pocket that I put the screen in. All the way around, so I have nice backing there for it, all clean looking. The sticker, yeah, is a little worn, but hey, what can you do? Now, as for where I got all of this stuff from, specifically the backlight kit, the glass front here, they even sell new buttons and everything if you want them, is Handheld Legend. I had no issues there. They were very good, very quick, got the stuff out to me. I'm not affiliated with them at all. They don't even know I ordered this stuff. Like, they didn't know it was me in the video or anything. They did very, very good work. They got it out to me. They have a wide selection. You can pick all kinds of colors, and from what I'm seeing, it's quality, so great stuff there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my $5 Game Boy Pocket. It's pretty cool to be able to get these kind of things from a thrift store, refurbish them, build them up like this. Sure, I combined two Game Boy Pockets, but the two of them together were $20, and I end up with a really, really cool piece. I don't have a Game Boy Lite, I guess is what it's called, but I have this, and this is pretty close, I would say. There's also a bivert mod that I may look into because it increases the contrast, which will, I guess, make the picture pop even more. I might look into that, but what I'm seeing right now is pretty awesome. I like the Game Boy Pocket a lot, runs off 2 AAA batteries. I'll see how much different the battery life is now with this backlight, but I really like what I'm seeing here. Again, that's Handheld Legend. You can check their link, and I'll put their link in the description if you want to browse their stuff and everything, but I guess I can take off this $5 sticker now and add a backlit Game Boy Pocket to my collection. Now, should you try this? Well, it's up to you. It's not the easiest thing to do because the screen is easy to damage. I desoldered that cable specifically so I wouldn't run into that problem, but most people are also not going to desolder their cable, so it's kind of up to you if this is something you want to attempt, but it's a fun project. You can generally find Game Boy Pockets at a fair price if you go to flea markets, or if you have like a local retro store, or even online, and Handheld Legend sells full kits to just reshell the entire thing if you want. Yeah, I got lucky, but hey, I'm pretty happy with what I found. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike it if not. I'll see you guys next time.